Script 3. The Stolen Identity.
What if someone was living your life without you knowing, wearing your face, stealing your name? This is the true story of Rachel, whose identity became a nightmare she couldn't escape. In April 2025, Rachel, a 31-year-old accountant in Portland, Oregon, starts receiving strange calls from people asking for Rachel about events she never attended, a charity gala in Seattle, a job interview in Chicago. Her banked flags purchases in cities she's never visited, a dress in Miami, a hotel in New York. Her social media shows posts she didn't write, like "loving my new life," with photos of places she's never seen. Friends text, confused, saying they saw her at a bar across town last night, but Rachel was home, alone. She changes her passwords, thinking it's a hacker, but the calls escalate, now mentioning personal details, her childhood dog's name, the street she grew up on. The voices on the phone sound eerily familiar, almost like her own, but colder, mocking. Rachel's apartment feels less like home, the air heavy with an unexplainable tension, as if someone's been inside, rearranging her life while she sleeps. Rachel finds a photo online of herself at a party, but the woman's face is slightly off, her eyes too wide, her smile too sharp, like a distorted mirror. Voicemails pile up, a woman's voice mimicking hers, saying, "You're not needed anymore, Rachel." One night, her doorbell rings at 2 a.m., and a delivery sits outside, a red dress, stained with something dark and sticky, addressed to her in her own handwriting. Rachel's heart pounds as she checks her security camera, seeing a shadow that looks like her, standing motionless in the street, staring at her window. She locks the doors, but the camera catches the figure circling her building, vanishing into the alley. The next day, Rachel finds her front door slightly ajar. Her keys move to the kitchen counter. She installs a new lock, but the voicemails continue, now describing her every move. "Nice blue sweater today, Rachel." Her reflection in the mirror feels wrong, like it's watching her, waiting for her to slip. Rachel wakes to her phone, buzzing with a video call from her own number. The screen shows her face, but it's not her smiling too wide, eyes unblinking, skin unnaturally pale. The doppelganger whispers, "I'm the real Rachel now," and the call cuts to static. The power in her apartment dies, plunging her into darkness, and she hears her front door creak open, slow and deliberate. Footsteps echo through the living room, soft but heavy, like someone mimicking her walk. Rachel hides in her closet, clutching a kitchen knife, her breath ragged. The footsteps stop outside the closet, and a voice her voice says, "I know where you are." The police arrive after her frantic 911 call, finding no one, but a neighbor's shed is filled with photos of Rachel's life, her sleeping, her car, her workplace, taken from angles she never noticed. Her bedroom mirror has "You're next" scratched into it, the letters deep and uneven, as if carved with rage. Rachel moves to a hotel, but the doppelganger's smile haunts her dreams. The police identify the woman as a serial identity thief, using stolen lives to evade capture, but she's vanished without a trace. Rachel's mother, shaken, reveals a secret. Rachel had a twin who died at birth, or so the hospital claimed. Rachel finds a hospital record in her attic, yellowed and hidden, showing her twin was adopted, not dead, with a photo matching the doppelganger's face. The twist: the record lists Rachel as the deceased twin, not her sister. Rachel destroys the document, but her reflection now moves slower than she does, its smile lingering too long, and her phone buzzes with texts from her own number. "Welcome back, sister."
Script 4. The Silent Neighbor.
What if your neighbor watched you every night, but never spoke a word? This is the true story of Mark, whose new apartment came with a silent, sinister presence next door. A peephole in a door, a faint, unblinking eyes staring through it. Text: in May 2025, Mark, a 27-year-old programmer, moves into a small apartment in San Francisco's Mission District. The building is old, with creaking floors and dim hallways, but the rent fits his budget. His neighbor across the hall, an older man with sunken eyes and a gaunt face, never speaks, only watches through his peephole whenever Mark passes. Mark tries waving, offering a friendly smile, but the man's stare is unyielding, like he's memorizing every detail. The hallway feels colder near the neighbor's door, and Mark notices faint scratches on his own doorframe, as if someone tested the lock with a knife. He laughs it off, thinking it's just an eccentric loner, but the man's presence lingers like a shadow. At night, Mark hears faint tapping from the shared wall, rhythmic and deliberate, stopping when he knocks back. His keys go missing one morning, only to reappear on his counter, slightly bent, as if tampered with. The tapping escalates into scratching, like nails dragging across wood. Always at 3 a.m., Mark's mail starts vanishing bills, letters, even junk replaced by faint smudges of dirt on his doorstep. One night, he wakes to find his window curtains parted, revealing the neighbor standing outside, hands pressed against the glass, staring up at Mark's second-floor apartment. The man's face is expressionless, his eyes reflecting the streetlight like mirrors. Mark calls the landlord, who dismisses the neighbor as harmless and living alone, but the landlord's voice wavers. Mark installs a security camera, capturing the neighbor's slipping notes under his door at night, written in jagged handwriting. "I see you sleep." The camera catches glimpses of the man holding photos of Mark's bedroom, taken from inside his apartment. Mark's sleep becomes restless, his dreams filled with the neighbor's hollow stare, and he finds his front door unlocked one morning, the air inside smelling faintly of cigarette smoke, though he doesn't smoke. Mark confronts the neighbor, banging on his door, demanding answers. The door creaks open, revealing the man's face, smiling for the first time, a thin, unnatural grin. He says nothing, just steps back into the darkness of his apartment. That night, Mark wakes to a weight in the room, his breath visible in the sudden cold. The neighbor is inside his apartment, sitting in a chair by his bed, watching him sleep. The man's eyes glow faintly, like embers, and he whispers, "You're mine now." Mark screams, grabbing a lamp and swinging it, but the neighbor moves impossibly fast, fleeing into the hallway. The police raid the neighbor's apartment, finding a hidden room behind a false wall, filled with photos of Mark and past tenants, some dating back decades. The photos show people sleeping, unaware, their faces circled in red ink. The neighbor escapes, leaving a final note under Mark's door. "I'm always watching." Mark moves out, but the man's smile haunts him, etched into every dark corner. The police discover the neighbor used multiple aliases, with no true identity on record, as if he never existed. Mark settles into a new apartment, hoping to forget, but his new neighbor, a woman with the same hollow eyes and unnatural smile, slips notes under his door, identical to the man's. The twist: Mark finds a photo of himself sleeping in his new bed, taken from above, with a red circle around his face, dated the night he moved in. He destroys the photo, but the scratching returns, now coming from inside his new walls, and the peephole in his door fogs with breath when no one's there. Want true horror stories that keep you awake? Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for the scariest stories in the world. Share your creepy neighbor story in the comments below.